What is going on, guys? My name is D-Free. Welcome back to another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan Battle video, which we're going to do another Summoner Na, and we're doing it for both versions of the game. Basically, if you're new to the channel, not familiar with what this isn't any sort of gameplay or anything like that. This is just me basically breaking down the two banners, well, in this scenario, 4 banners, whether or not they are banners that you guys should summon on, in which I know you guys have probably already summoned at this point, so maybe this is a little counterintuitive. Maybe you can use this as a tool to like, maybe I won't summon anymore, maybe I'll wait. So, simple answer, too long, didn't read. Quick answer, yes, you should summon. Now, if you want more context as to why, or maybe potentially other reasons as to why you probably may not want to summon, go ahead and stick around. If you did choose to leave, you got your info, that's fine with me. That being said, let's talk about it. So we have 2 banners. They are different on both versions of the game, as expected. So apparently these arts are not fake. They were like leaked maybe I don't want to say a week ago, maybe like 4 or 5 days ago, and people were saying that they were fake or whatever, but apparently they were actually real, so that's pretty interesting. So JP's banner does feature the 120 leads and Global's does not, of course, but it is cool that SS4 Goku's on here because he had just come. Let me actually close out of this. This is like driving me nuts. It's just jumping down there. So let's go ahead and look at the Omega variants first, and we'll talk about them. So quick answer once again, it may be more beneficial to wait if you choose to. That's up to you totally at your own discretion. So here are the varying banners. Global's version has Omega STR, Physical Omega as well. They have Buhan, Goku Black, SS4 Goku, who once again is back after just leaving, Merge Zamasu, and then Super Vegito here. One really important factor is the fact that, let me actually see if this will load right, is the fact that these guys have no leader skills. No leader skills right now. It's to be released. So that's a really funky subject because, of course, the leader skills are tied to the category system. A little bit of knowledge for you guys. I closed you, Logic. Why are you still open? Go away. Leave me alone. I'm sorry. It's just like I'm on a Mac and it's just jumping. I don't know. Either way, it makes sense because the mechanic for this is tied to the category system, which is a luck system basically on JP. For the moment, it basically impacts drop rates of items and statues, but you have to run certain teams against certain events. That's something they'll definitely expand upon later, but a little bit of knowledge, Global could implement that at any time. This isn't a content release. They could have updated their application, I assume they probably tried to. And all the maintenance they've been having, I assume they probably tried to avoid releasing these God leads without a leader skill. I never thought that would happen. Like, I would have expected them to have just the same leader skill but no category system before this mess of whatever this is, because now you cannot run them on their... Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Now you can't run them on their teams as leaders. But later on in the future, of course, it says to be released. There will come an update where they're just like, oh, let's go ahead and put them in. I assume that because of this, though, they're going to go ahead and work on releasing the category system sooner rather than later. And we've seen this whole global JP duo campaign thing be an issue in a few different regards, and this is just the latest one of them. It's just mainly because the global game is so far back, and I don't care what you say, right? The JP game is actually 6 months older than the global version. That's why it's so far behind. And the global didn't do itself any favors by like postponing content for so long in its earlier days. I was playing during those days. But the only way for them to get fully caught up is to outright release those other units that are in between where JP is and where global is, because that's one of the big factors for these guys' teams. And of course, to release updates and things like that, that's still about 4 months worth of content. So unless they just back to back, they are not going to drop them all at once. I have been wrong before, and I'm man enough to say it, but that is one thing I am certain of, because they didn't just spend time making those units just to drop them all in one banner. They're not going to do it. But if they do, I'll be a monkey's uncle. So either way, no leader skill. So understand that if you summon for Omega or Gogeta, you are doing it under the assumption that they cannot be used as functioning leaders on their own teams yet. They could still be used under their 70% leads, but I mean, we jumped into the 120% meta with the SS4s, so that is a step back. It's not as good. You're better off probably just running hero villain, because that's still a relevant team in the game for the most part. Now, I would say that, once again, another operating function is that these units will be back. They come back often. Next celebration, they may be back. If not, they'll be back for the next celebration after that. That is what they do with these units, right? And another thing, too, is Global does not have this farmable Omega Shenron that JP got. I don't know why they didn't put the farmable Omega on there. This is a Sin Shenron. The Dokkan's into Omega Shenron. I'm not sure why. You could tell because he has the Dragon Balls on his chest and it's on a forehead here. I'm not sure why they didn't do that. You know, it was possible, and they also didn't put in the Goku, who's going to be in the Gogeta side of things when we look at that. But I do think that this is a banner that, even if they do come back, it's a worthwhile banner. But as long as you understand that you're operating under the premise that they'll come back in the future, and then Global's perspective isn't going to have the leader skills, so you have to run them a few different ways. They're still incredible units, passive-wise, link-wise, everything else, but they're heavily dependent on the category system, which Global does not have at the moment. So just keep that in mind going forward. Let's go ahead and take a look at the SS4 banners here. Oh yeah, last little thing. I don't know if these are GSSR for 3 multis or whatever they are, but the rates on the Gogeta banner and the Omega Shenron banner seem to have been really good. I don't know what it is. I mean, but look at the rates. It's still 10% here, which I didn't look at the rate on the Global variant, but I'm sure it's about the same thing. I don't know what it is, but there's something. You guys can let me know what it is 3 times. It just says 3 times 50 stones. I don't know what that is. Either way, Global is also getting tickets, and they have these summon steps. JP does not have the summon steps. JP also does not get the tickets. So you see they tried to balance it out a little bit between the 2 games. You know, JP gets the leader skills, but Global's going to get this little extra incentive to kind of sweeten it. I feel like they did that because, you know, people were like, oh, wait, this guy has no leader skill, literally. There are units in the game that don't have leader skills. Fun fact, but they're mainly like N cards, so they don't matter. N and R cards, they don't matter. So they did that too. So here's Global's variant. They feature these guys. Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken, Broly is there. Goku Black is here. So that's cool too. Let's go over to JP. JP has a similar featured lineup, but they run the new Gotenks SS3. I'm not sure why they don't have the tech Gotenks on the Global side either. They didn't really follow the theme, right? Global is JP did a good job for this banner with following the theme of needing fusion units. So basically all these units have like over in a flash, except for this guy here. Even this one down here has over in a flash, which is the farmable, or I guess he is kind of farmable for the SS2 physical Goku, but you wouldn't do that. But he is farmable for SS3 Goku GT, so that's cool. This guy is, once again, another solid support unit. He's actually optimal on some of these teams, so he's very good. So that's another unit that Global did not wind up getting in this regard. So you see kind of the parallels here. It's not a bad thing per se, but it is a parallel. So all in all, right, let's go ahead and conclude. All in all, final verdict. Once again, I want to reiterate a couple of points. You should outright summon on these banners if you can, right? They are good banners. They feature several good units on both versions of the game. It's not Global's fault that they just simply don't have some of these units, like all the 120 leaders, Gogeta Intelligence, and Physical Gotenks, and Super 17 on the other banner. It's not their fault they don't have those units. You should definitely go for it. But one thing to keep in mind is, regardless of the game that you're playing, try to moderate it. Don't go too crazy, especially if you're a paying player. Try not to go too ham on these banners, because all these units will come back in the future. I think that it's an interesting time in the game when we jump into categories, because there's going to be other categories. Now, the problem with the category mechanic is that they basically found a way to make us start summoning new variants on units that they've already released like 5 times over, because they'll just simply not give them a category. So it's a weird thing. It's definitely pay to play as hell. But if you're a Global, or if you're a free-to-play player, Global or JP, I wouldn't go too ham as far as stone expenditure, especially if you're on Global. I'd probably just go through 1 or 2 rounds if you can, because you have the discounted first multi, the second multi discounted too, all the way through the steps, and then you start off at 5 to 8 or 5 to 7 or whatever it is. I wouldn't go too ham. Just go ahead and moderate yourself. But that's it. Hope you guys have good luck in your pulls. Once again, Gogeta and Omega Shenron's leader skills will be released indefinitely. They will come out. I just can't tell you when, but I do assume that it'll be sooner rather than later, because of the fact that they just simply cannot be used as leaders. And Bandai did not spend all this time making all these units to probably experience lesser sales because they can't be used as leads on global side of things. So they'll definitely patch that up. You guys have my word for that. I'm pretty certain on that. But either way, hope you guys had fun. Hope you guys subscribe to the channel if you're new and had a good time with your pulls. I'll catch you guys later on. Peace out.